Dobro jutro iz Beograd. Good morning and welcome to Belgrade. I just arrived from a 9-hour night bus ride. I still feel a bit tired. Let's change that. Two things I need right now. Fresh coffee and some amazing freshly made burek. It's hard to describe for me how much I love burek. It's amazing. So I definitely will tell you a lot about history and stuff in this video, but maybe this is gonna be my first kind of foodie video, I don't know.
Belgrade is the capital of Serbia and was formerly the capital of Yugoslavia. Owing to its strategic position at the confluence of the Sava and Danube rivers, it has been one of the most frequently besieged cities in Europe. Over the centuries, Belgrade has been destroyed and rebuilt numerous times, making it one of the cities in Europe that has endured the most cycles of devastation and reconstruction. So the reason I got here is because my mate Daniel, who I met in Skopje earlier this year, asked if I wanna come along. So here we are. And we were not only looking for the best raki and cevape, but also for unique things to do here in Belgrade.
Und jetzt?
Drehen und dann gibt es genug Strom und dann hörst du vielleicht jemand an der anderen Leitung.
Hallo? Wir würden gerne rein zum Zug. Da ist niemand.
Okay.
Right guys, we're somewhere on the absolute outskirts of Belgrade, and somewhere back there should be Plavi Voz, which is the blue train, Tito's train.
Tito's Blue Train, commissioned in 1959, built specially for the Yugoslav president, this was no ordinary train. It was a rolling residence, made in factories in Maribor and Smederevska Palanka. It features interiors of mahogany, walnut, pear, silk and velvet. Detailed marquetry, luxury beyond what most would see in palaces. Tito logged over 600,000 kilometers on his train, traveling across Yugoslavia and abroad. More than 60 state heads rode in its carriages. It also carried his body from Ljubljana to Belgrade in 1980, marking its place in Yugoslav history. Walking through the different wagons is unreal. I have never been in such a luxurious train. This is what you know from movies, but never thought would be real. A real adventure on its own.
Here you have the builder of this train. So this train is actually a Slovenian train, built in Maribor. Look at this. It's pretty unique. It's hard to describe how amazing this stuff is. Like a double cabin. One person here, one person over there. Both would have little space for themselves.
Das ist hier so Star Wars Originalfilm mit Clark.
After the breakup of Yugoslavia, the train fell silent. But it didn't vanish. In recent decades, Plavi Voz has been restored in part, preserved as a museum. Visitors can explore its saloons, dining cars, sleeping compartments. It's rented for events. Its locomotive stand as a monument. It's more than a train, of power, of travel, of Yugoslav modernism. A relic of another era, still rolling in memory. And after so much culture, it was time to finally check out the local beverages.
So we found a place where they served us beer and some very nice rakia. Shivale.
Chevrolet.
Whoa, that one's strong, huh? It's plum. He said it's a šljivovica. A lot of taste.
Very nice, very nice.
And that was day 1. Vision faded by early afternoon and so did the footage. So let's skip to day 2.
Da wird auch mit dem Auto hergefahren, dann kurz 8 halbe und weiter geht's.
Shivale. Welcome to day 2.
And besides rakia, how to better start into the day than with some tasty burek. Also a great fact about Belgrade, the local tram and bus system is absolutely free to use for everybody.
So today, apart from eating way more amazing stuff, we're gonna concentrate on the architecture of Belgrade. And we're gonna start right here, as I'm standing in front of a building known as the Toblerone Tower.
Officially called the Karaburma Residential Housing Tower. Designed by Arista Shekerinski and completed in 1963, it stands 17 stories high and features bold triangular terraces that give it its distinctive look. Located in Karaburma, the tower sits near the theology faculty and is visible from many parts of the city, especially from the Bančevo Bridge. With its concrete finish, sharp geometry and socialist modernist influence, it's both praised and critiqued. Some believe it's an architectural gem, others find it unconventional. Regardless of opinion, the Toblerone Tower is part of Belgrade's architectural identity, a reminder of ambitious design in the socialist era.
So right now I'm standing in front of the Yugoslavian museum. I'm quite afraid I won't be able to film inside, but I definitely wanted to show the mosaic on the front of the building, which was very common in socialist times here in Yugoslavia, to have these very huge and very, in my opinion, super beautiful. Most of the time they're showing either some army or some military stuff, sometimes also like some heroes or very important people, the working class, stuff like this. So I went through the museum and the House of Flowers now. I highly recommend you do the same if you visit Belgrade. It's really interesting. Like in the museum there are a lot of like exponents of Tito's personal life and a lot of gifts that different leaders, state leaders, organizations gifted to him. Interesting stuff, and especially also the House of Flowers, where his basically his mausoleum is what was actually planned as to be his new residence in Belgrade. Here on the hill, actually behind me, you can see Belgrade pretty well. The entry is only 600 Serbian dinars, which it's around €5. So throughout the whole park here, there are a shitload of sculptures. For example, this one of Tito himself. And if you have seen my video about Sarajevo in Bosnia, the capital of Bosnia-Herzegovina, and in Sarajevo there is a sculpture that shows him exactly like this. So I'm standing in front of the ruins of the Yugoslavian Army Headquarters. So let me tell you about the history of this building and what the NATO has to do with it.
In the center of Belgrade stands the former headquarters of the Yugoslav People's Army, built between 1955 and 1965. The building combined robust brown red stone from Kozjerić with white marble from the island of Brač, creating a striking contrast in its modernist facade. Inside, ceremonial halls carried national symbols and reliefs that connected architecture with state identity. During the NATO bombing of Yugoslavia in 1999, the complex was hit several times, leaving large parts heavily damaged. In spring 1999, NATO launched an air campaign against the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia during the Kosovo War. The conflict centered on the repression of Kosovo Albanians by Serbian forces under Slobodan Milosevic, which had escalated into violence and mass displacement. After failed peace talks, NATO intervened without UN Security Council approval, arguing it was necessary to prevent humanitarian catastrophe. Over 78 days, NATO bombed military targets, infrastructure and symbolic buildings in Belgrade and elsewhere. The campaign ended when Yugoslavia agreed to withdraw its forces from Kosovo, which was then placed under UN administration with a NATO-led peacekeeping force.
As you might guess, I'd love to go in, but such a busy street I'm at, and yeah, cameras and stuff, so no chance. Now we crossed to the other side of Belgrade. We crossed the Danube and Save River. I think we actually only crossed the Save River. Anyway, here are many of these old Soviet building complexes, of these old kind of grey and depressing looking housing complexes. At least some people say so. I get that, but I also really like these housing complexes. While everybody has a different opinion on this, on the style of these housing complexes, I guess there are plenty of them in whole Belgrade. And one that stands out is Blok 28. And why that is, I'm gonna tell you right now. So this outer part of Blok 28 is known as Televizorke. So basically the TV building. It has nothing to do actually with TVs, but look at the window frames. They were often compared to as TVs, and this definitely gives this building a very unique look, a very unique design. There are people who really like it, there are people who don't like it. I heard that because of the design that it's hard to clean and maintain, and that the windows are not always wind and rainproof, which obviously is shit. But overall these housing blocks, they are pretty well thought through, like the sense of community and stuff. Like for example, if you have seen my video about Podgorica, the famous Block 5 there, the idea behind this is absolutely the same. You have the flats up there where people live, and in the lower stories and also inside there are shops, there are doctors, there are like stuff like kindergartens or even schools. So this is the big idea about these housing complexes. While we leave Block 28 behind us, you can already see our next goal. In front of us is the Genex Tower, also known as the eastern city gate of Belgrade. Alright, here we go. We made it to the western city gate. It is definitely one of the most significant buildings here in all of Belgrade. Yet there are many controversies around this building actually. When the Genex company, the company that built the tower, went bankrupt, it was abandoned basically and left for decay. Like, not really abandoned, because on one side of the building it's still used for housing. It's this side here, exactly. And the other side was mainly used for office. These office floors are mainly abandoned. The housing complex is still in use and was always in the use. But the towers overall seem to be in a not so good condition. In 2023, finally, a private investor bought the Genex Tower. So far, it's not sure what they will do with it. From the community, from the people that live in Belgrade, there were a lot of proposals, like making it a museum, a Tesla museum, making it a cultural hub, using it for art installations or whatever, using it more for the community. I guess you can see this round shaped thing in the center. I think I heard that it was supposed to turn and move, and I think I also read that it never moved, it never worked. From this side you can see the differences even better. Well, this part is still in use as a housing complex. This is absolutely in decay. Also the area in front of the building. Now I reached the proper outskirts of Belgrade. What am I doing here? It's time to get some nice food. And And first we're gonna have something big, something with meat, either cevape or something else, I'm not sure yet. And after that we're also gonna treat ourselves with something sweet. Actually I wanted to wait for Daniel to join me, but the last time he was online he sent me pictures of him drinking beer and also eating cevape, so I think he's good for the moment. Oh my god, that was so much food. It was delicious. I guess now it's time to treat ourselves with some sweets. This little ice cream shop gained popularity in the last couple of years as they serve some rather unusual ice cream flavors like Aiva and cheese. Look how beautiful the ice looks actually. And they also let you taste everything. The flavors they change seasonally sometimes. And they actually also sometimes serve rakia ice. At the moment, sadly that's not available. But anyway, I got some of the cheese. The Aiva, like these are actually savory ice cream flavors, you know, which is very unusual. But like the Aiva, it actually tastes like Aiva, which was, I don't know, very interesting. But like I didn't want a whole scoop of that. But I choose pistachio, raspberry, and cheese. Cool concept of this little store. I don't know which cheese they make or if they actually use cheese to make this ice cream, but it has a very strong note, like even like gorgonzola. It's amazing. I love it. We're standing in line for what is apparently the best burek in town. I guess because there's a shitload of people standing here waiting for the burek.
Or at least it's the most Insta known.
Probably, yes. Also, the place looks kind of fancy. So here we are, trying apparently the best burek
In the world. Is it?
No,
Really good?
I love burek. This is a really good one. I wouldn't say the best in the world probably, but yeah, it's fucking great. So we have the classical one with cheese and meat, and also a sweet one with I think apple. It's apple jam kinda, huh?
Ja, no. Das glaube ich auch, da ist alles in eine Richtung raus.
Okay. I see. Yeah, definitely the savory ones were better, I'd say. What's happening there? It looks like a wedding. Yeah, they're welcoming the bride with a band. So this is the Moskva Hotel, which is probably the most famous hotel in all of Serbia, all of Belgrade at least. It also gives off a shitload of Wes Anderson vibes, if you know what I mean. A lot of beautiful details.
In the afternoon we joined an underground walking tour where a local guide showed us some pretty unique places below the fortress of Belgrade in the hill called Kalemegdan. You probably noticed all the white stones? That's what gave Belgrade its name. Beograd means translated as much as White City. Our first stop was the so-called Roman well, which isn't actually Roman. It was built by the Austrians in the 18th century as a massive water reservoir and strategic supply. Its depth of around 60 meters with winding spiral staircases gave it a reputation as mysterious and even eerie. Over time legends grew, from prisoners thrown inside to tales of Nazi treasure hidden in its depths. Today it stands less as a functional structure and more as a monument to Belgrade's layered history of myth, empire and imagination. Not far from the well is a small but interesting bunker. The military bunker was built by the Yugoslav People's Army between 1948 and 1953. At that time, Kalemegdan was a closed military zone, so almost no one in Belgrade knew about the construction, even though it was located in a highly visible part of the fortress. The bunker remained a military secret until 2008, disguised as an ordinary hill, and was only discovered because a minor landslide revealed a part of the walls. It covers 200 square meters with a 36-meter corridor which hosts regularly changing exhibitions, 2 small rooms with beds that were likely never used, and working ventilation shafts. Inside are original 200-liter asbestos water containers meant to supply defenders with drinking water and hygiene for several weeks. We descended the hill to get to the next location. The last stop of the tour was an old wine cellar, where we got to try and taste homemade white wine.
Sehr gerne, Lennart.
Chimney.
Ah, der ragt weit in den Rachen.
Ja, der schmeckt nach Suff.
This was the end of a short, delicious and alcohol-infused trip through the history of Belgrade. I actually wasn't able to visit all the places I wanted, but that only means that I have to come visit Belgrade again, which sounds pretty fun to me. While returning to the city center to catch my bus, the streets got closed because there were again protests announced against the corrupt government of Serbia. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I really hope to see you next time. Bye!